I never believed in ghosts. But the night I caught those footsteps on camera, I learned there are things in the dark that know exactly where you sleep and exactly when to come to your door. Section 1. Moving in. It all started in September. I'd been saving for months to get out of my cramped studio apartment and finally found a bigger place. A 2-bedroom unit above a small independent bookstore in a quiet part of town. The rent was lower than I expected, which the landlord explained by saying, "Not everyone likes being in an older building." I figured creaky floors and old pipes were a small price to pay for the extra space. The layout was simple, a narrow hallway connecting the main door, bathroom, and 2 bedrooms. The living room and kitchen were toward the back, overlooking a busy street during the day. But at night, the building felt almost completely cut off from the world. There were only 2 other tenants, Mrs. Keller, a woman in her late 60s on the floor below, and Jeremiah, the bookstore owner downstairs, who closed up by 8 p.m. That meant, after 9 p.m., it was usually dead silent in the building. Or at least it should have been. Section 2. First footsteps. The first time I noticed the footsteps was on a Wednesday around midnight. I'd been in bed, laptop on my chest, when a faint creak echoed from the hallway outside my bedroom. At first, I thought it was just the wood contracting in the cool night air. But then, another step. And another. The sound was slow, deliberate, almost measured. I froze, listening. The footsteps came forward, then stopped. Not at any door, but somewhere in the middle of the hall. A few seconds passed before they started again, moving away. My bedroom door was locked. Still, I got up, opened it, and peeked into the hallway. Empty. I went back to bed, convincing myself it was just Mrs. Keller passing through. Section 3. Patterns. A few nights later, it happened again. Same time. Just after midnight. Same slow pace. Except this time, instead of retreating, the footsteps stopped directly outside my door. I sat there in the dark, holding my breath. Then the floorboards groaned under what sounded like shifting weight, like someone leaning closer to listen. Before I could even call out, the sound stopped completely. Section 4. Asking around. The next day, I casually mentioned the noise to Mrs. Keller when I saw her at the mailboxes. She looked at me for a long moment and said, "It's been doing that since before I moved in. You'll get used to it." She never explained what it was. That answer didn't sit right with me. Section 5. The camera plan. By the following weekend, I'd made up my mind. I needed proof. I dug out my old phone, set it up on a hallway shelf facing my bedroom door, and left it recording before I went to bed Sunday night. And sure enough, at 1:47 a.m., the sound came. The recording showed the empty hallway, but the audio was crystal clear. Heavy, unhurried steps moving closer, stopping directly at my door. Then came 3 slow knocks. No voice, no movement, just silence before the steps gradually moved away. Section 6. Second recording. That alone was enough to creep me out. But the second recording, 2 nights later, was worse. I'd left the phone in the exact same spot. At 1:58 a.m., the steps appeared again on audio. But this time, there was something else. When the steps reached my door, a shadow formed along the bottom of the frame. Thin, long, impossibly stretched, like the silhouette of a hand with too many fingers. No one knocked that night, but the audio picked up a faint noise, almost buried under static. Don't sleep yet. Section 7. Trying to catch it in person. By now, I knew the pattern, around 1:50 a.m. every other night. So the next time, I decided to wait in the living room with the hallway light off, camera ready. At 1:53, right on schedule, the sound began. Slow creaks, getting louder. I aimed my phone, but nothing appeared in the hall. The sound just kept coming, as if invisible feet were passing right in front of me. When they reached my bedroom door, the doorknob clicked like it turned slightly, even though I could see the lock was still engaged. Section 8. Mrs. Keller's warning. I finally cornered Mrs. Keller again to get answers. She sighed and told me, "You can't see it with your eyes. Only the floor and the walls notice." When I pressed her, she just added, "Don't give it your name." Then she walked away before I could ask anything else. Section 9. The motion camera. I bought a small motion-activated camera and placed it on the floor just outside my door, pointing down the hall. 2 nights later, around 2:01 a.m., it triggered. The footage made my blood run cold. The hallway started empty. Then a tall, shadowy form emerged from the far end. Its limbs were far too long, joints bent subtly the wrong way. Its head was tilted unnaturally, brushing the ceiling. It stopped at my door and crouched slowly, pressing what would have been its face toward the gap at the bottom. The audio picked up a whisper. My own name. I hadn't told anyone in the building my name. Section 10. Attempt to confront. The next night, I decided to shout through the door when I heard it approach. When the steps stopped outside, I called out, "Who is it?" Silence. Then something scraped along the door, a slow drag downward. When I looked the next morning, 3 deep gouges were carved into the wood. Section 11. The break-in attempt. A few nights later, the sound changed. The steps started in the same place. But when they reached my door, the knob rattled violently like someone trying to force it. I yelled and grabbed a kitchen knife, but the moment I touched the handle, the rattling stopped, replaced by that same slow pace, retreating into silence. Section 12. The final recording. The last straw came a week later. I'd set the motion camera again in the hallway. At 1:56 a.m., it captured something I still can't explain. The figure was there again, taller than before, its limbs almost touching both walls as it stood. But this time, it didn't stop at my door. Instead, it turned its head toward the camera. In an impossibly fast, jerky motion, it lunged right into the lens. The final frame is nothing but the pale oval of its face filling the shot, still featureless, except for that black, yawning mouth. Immediately after, the footage cut to static. And when I checked the camera in the morning, the memory card was gone. Section 13. Leaving. I left that afternoon. No lease termination form, no proper goodbye to Mrs. Keller. The landlord didn't argue. In fact, when I told him why, he just said, "You're not the first." Section 14. Epilogue. It's been 3 months. I'm in a new place, far from that bookstore apartment. A friend stayed over last week, sleeping on my couch. The next morning, she asked if I'd been walking around outside her door at 2 a.m. I told her no. She said she'd heard slow footsteps, measured, deliberate, and then 3 knocks. I used to think it was the building that was haunted. Now I'm starting to think, maybe it was me.